A recent report from the Global Trade Research Initiative has put the spotlight back on a growing concern for India, which is its widening trade deficit with China. Yes, China's recent move to relax export restrictions on key items like fertilizers, rare earth elements, and tunnel boring machines might seem like a diplomatic breakthrough. But according to the GTRI, the bigger picture remains troubling. Despite small wins, India remains heavily dependent on Chinese imports, and the trade gap is not only persistent, it's growing. But before we dive into the report's findings, let's take a step back and talk about what exactly is a trade deficit. Now, a trade deficit occurs when a country imports more goods and services than it exports. In simple terms, it means money is flowing out of the country to pay for its foreign goods faster than it's coming in from export. In context of India and China, this means India is buying far more from China, electronics, chemicals, industrial machinery, and so on, than it's selling to them. And this imbalance creates economic vulnerabilities, especially when the supply chain depends so heavily on one country. Now, the recent GTRI analysis emphasized India's substantial economic reliance on Chinese imports. This follows Beijing's previous restrictions on vital minerals like germanium and graphite, which affected India's electronics and electric vehicle industries. Now, despite the easing of restrictions, significant economic disparities still exist. India's trade deficit with China reached $100 billion in financial year 2025, while Beijing maintained support for Pakistan during the recent conflict. GTRI warned that this dependency provides China considerable influence during diplomatic tensions. A trade deficit manifests when a nation's imports exceeds its exports in value. GTRI's analysis revealed structural issues, noting China's dominant position in supplying over 70% of India's essential requirements. Consumer electronics demonstrate this dependency with Chinese imports accounting for laptops 80.5% and flat panel displays 86%. India's portion of bilateral trade has diminished significantly to 11.2% from 42.3% in 20 years, indicating vulnerable supply chains and increased reliance on Chinese components. Now, when it comes to imports, here are 5 products shaping this vital trade relationship: electronics and telecommunication, machinery, nuclear reactors, boilers, organic chemicals, plastic, optical, photo, technical and medical apparatus. Now let's dive into how this impacts the nations. The widening trade deficit between India and China carries far-reaching consequences that go beyond just numbers on a balance sheet. Economically, India's heavy dependence on Chinese imports weakens its domestic industries, stalls innovation, and strains foreign exchange reserves, making the country vulnerable to supply chain shocks. Now, strategically, this imbalance hands China significant leverage during diplomatic tensions, limiting India's ability to take a firm stance on critical geopolitical issues, especially given Beijing's continued support for Pakistan. It also influences how the world views India's economic resilience, potentially pushing New Delhi to recalibrate its foreign relations and seek stronger partnerships beyond the region. Ultimately, addressing the India-China trade deficit isn't just about balancing the books. It's about safeguarding India's economic sovereignty and strategic future. As global dynamics shift and competition intensifies, India's path forward must prioritize resilience, diversification, and self-reliance. Only by reducing dependency on any single nation can India secure its place as a confident and independent player on the world stage. What are your thoughts on this video? Do let us know in the comment section below.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.